Imagine sitting in a room filled with thunderous, distorted guitars while the world outside feels dangerously quiet. You feel a strange sense of comfort in the chaos that others simply cannot fathom. People often look at the leather, the black band tees, and the intensity and assume it is just aggression. But for you, the music was never about hate. It was always about deep, soulful survival. Have you ever wondered why that heavy sound became the only place where your complex emotions finally felt safe? The answer lies in a psychological connection that the rest of the world completely fails to see. Picture a teenager in the late 1980s retreating to their bedroom after a long, lonely day. The house is empty, and the silence feels like a heavy weight pressing down on their chest. They slide a cassette tape into the player and turn the volume up until the walls vibrate. The aggressive riffs and pounding drums act like a cathartic release for their hidden, unprocessed pain. To the casual observer, this looks like loud rebellion against authority or a sign of deep-seated anger. But to that teenager, the music was a mirror for their own internal struggles with isolation. This specific attraction to heavy music reveals a fascinating psychological truth about the Gen X experience. You grew up in an era defined by rapid change, economic instability, and a lack of consistent adult guidance. You were often left to navigate your complex inner world without any maps or external support. Heavy metal provided the high-energy intensity that matched the turbulent chaos of your formative years. It wasn't about wanting to be violent. It was about finding a safe space to feel valid. The music allowed you to externalize the internal tension you were constantly forced to suppress. Psychology shows us that heavy music is a powerful tool for emotional regulation and profound personal catharsis. For many, intense music helps move through difficult feelings like sadness, frustration, or existential dread. It allows you to process these heavy emotions in a safe, controlled, and intensely artistic environment. You weren't being angry at the world. You were actually being incredibly honest with your own soul. The complexity of the music mirrored the complexity of your developing mind during those uncertain times. It gave a voice to the silent fears you were told to just keep locked away. Take a slow, deep breath and let that realization wash over you. Let's look closely at how this deep psychological bond continues to influence your adult life today. Think about the peace you feel now when you put on your favorite album after a draining workday. You are not trying to incite a riot. You're simply returning to a familiar, safe, emotional harbor. Consider the friends who never understood your passion and labeled it as dark or inherently negative. They were mistaking the intensity of the medium for the intention of the listener. Your connection to this music is a quiet testament to your need for deep, authentic emotional expression. Alternatively, this passion often triggers a phenomenon known as collective identification within a misunderstood subculture. You felt a unique sense of belonging in a scene that welcomed those who felt like outsiders. You realized that thousands of other people shared your exact, heavy inner landscape of thoughts. It proved that your struggle was not a personal failure, but a shared human experience. This realization provided a profound sense of comfort that you could not find anywhere else. You were not just listening to music, you were participating in a silent, global, shared survival. Now, let us pause for a moment and reflect on your personal journey. Think about the first time a heavy riff truly made you feel completely, perfectly understood. Remember how the overwhelming loneliness you felt suddenly seemed lighter and much easier to manage. You realized that you were not alone in your darkness, and that changed everything for you. That was the exact moment your psychological identity was forged through the power of sound. You decided that your emotional truth was worth expressing, even if others judged your preferred aesthetic. You learned to value the intensity of your own feelings instead of fearing their depth. But here is the profound twist you might not have fully noticed yet. Your love for heavy metal was always a sign of high emotional intelligence and psychological maturity. You needed a complex language to describe a complex world, and you found in the music. The world will always tell you that soft music equals peace and loud music equals conflict. They want you to believe that your preference for intensity is a stage you should have outgrown. But the most emotionally resilient people are those who embrace the full spectrum of their own sound. When you stop treating your passion like a secret, you finally find true, unshakable freedom. You unlock the ability to value your authentic self regardless of how the outside world perceives you. The energy you used to waste defending your taste is now preserved for your own genuine growth. You are building a life that honors your past without needing to hide your present. You do not need to quiet your soul just to fit into a world that values superficial calm. Stop feeling guilty for your intense interests, your complex emotional needs, or your deep, heavy comfort. Trust your unique psychological history. Protect your internal peace, and value the music that helped you survive. The right people will eventually recognize the depth behind your aesthetic, and they will respect your path. Until then, remember that finding your own voice in the chaos is a superpower very few can master.